right, guys, welcome back to another Patreon episode. This is obviously me, Lewis, and I mean, by now, if you don't know our names or our voices, I mean, you're just dumb. You're just dumb. But we love you guys, and
You guys aren't true fans.
yeah, you guys aren't true fans, and you're also not racist, right, Candy? They haven't heated
Yeah,
discussions.
yeah. That means that you guys aren't racist.
Yeah, and if you want, just like explain to them why, because we're gonna be talking about race in our second, probably not in our second, well, later in the episode. Why is it important to stay racist? Talk to us. Tell me why. If you had to sell me on being racist, what benefits does it have?
Because it's boring, man.
It's boring not to
It's
be
it's
racist.
it's good. It's good to say racist stuff because it's funny. Have some comedy in life. Don't be so bland and normal and just like not say anything racist.
Yeah. By the way, I wish I would love to have gone back in time and go to like a KKK meeting, and I wonder if someone said this to them. Like, I wonder if someone said this, like, "Hey guys, I know what we should do. We should be racist because it's fun."
I never asked myself why do I want everyone to say racist. I never even asked myself that. It's like, nah, just fucking be racist. Who cares? Go
Don't
have fun,
ask,
man.
don't ask, don't tell. Don't ask, be racist.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Live your life. Have fun.
Have fun. Be racist, guys.
You know.
It's just, it's not fun. Be racist. I can imagine you just like in the most liberal town saying that out loud. Hey guys, let's have fun and be racist.
That's gonna be our merch. Live life, stay racist.
Live life and stay racist.
Sleep, eat, stay racist.
Don't be gay, be racist.
Yes. Oh my god.
Don't be
Don't be
trans.
gay, but it's okay to be racist.
Oh my God. All right, well, we're gonna move on to that before we get canceled for being racist. We're gonna talk about conspiracy theories. If you followed us from our last episode 13 on the free on YouTube and all that, we like briefly mentioned the Clinton body count, and then and I've been meaning to like talk conspiracy theories, as you know, because it's like there aren't so many of them, and lately, like that's everything everyone talks about, like the UFOs or like the Jeffrey Epstein. Like, I mean, those are like the big ones probably. My favorite one is the Clinton
Mm-hmm. And why is that?
because it's hilarious, and it's like it's hilarious. And then like we talked about Anthony Weiner being on Valley on the PBD podcast, and he
Mm-hmm.
totally just freaked out. He just freaked out when they mentioned.
Yeah, dude got so annoyed. Yeah.
I know, and this is for someone who like who repeated this lie that he has nothing to do with the Clinton family. It's like, all right, well, if you don't, why are you so offended?
Exactly.
Yeah, and also, why are you trying to be like the moral superhero when you're like a convicted? Well, you should be a convicted. Well, you're a sex offender actually. He's a convicted sex offender, and he's telling me that I'm not moral. It's like you're sexting 14-year-olds. What the hell do you mean moral?
It was just only one 14-year-old or 15-year-old.
No, this is the only one he got caught for.
Oh,
Yeah, he sexted a
okay.
lot of people. He has like a record of sexting people. And then he
What
plays
did
it
man?
off like and then he played it off like he had like some mental illness, but didn't want to say that he was addicted to attention because that's really what it is. He's addicted to
Yeah,
attention.
yeah, yeah.
And then he was like,
Right.
"Oh, I don't think it's attention because I don't think it's attention." I was like, "Well, what is it?" And then he's just like, "Well, I don't know what it is, but it's something." It's like, "No, you're just a pedophile."
Yeah,
I just feel like you're just a
yeah.
creep.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, he's just pretty much shying away from
Yeah,
that.
he's just a creep. That's really what it is. He's just a creep. And so the Clinton body list, if nobody knows, by the way, is like this theory that the Clintons, either or, whichever one you want to pick, or as a unit, um, hire, I guess, the government or use the government or their influence in the government institutions to kill people who they perceive as threats, like journalists, attorneys, business people, um, random people, honestly. I mean, and then the conspiracy part is the fact that, like, obviously it's difficult to prove that it's them, even though sometimes it's like, all right, it can't, at this point, it has to be them, right? Because it's like I think the list is like 300 people,
Right.
Yeah, and then at this point, you could also just add anybody there. Like you could just say like Kobe Bryant was killed by the Clintons, and just like have this loose connection to anything. Yeah, or like Anthony Bourdain. And by the way, I think Anthony Bourdain's on the list for some reason.
Hmm,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
it's like hilariously stupid. Like it's hilarious. That's why I love it. And so that's the conspiracy pretty much. And then like it's also funny because it's like who like do we know who like let me put it this way, like nobody we know, and I feel like we'll never meet anybody who has over like 100 people that just killed themselves for like like they just killed themselves. Like I don't know any. I like. Do I know anybody who's killed themselves?
I don't think
I feel like I know of someone who killed themselves, or like I know people who've like disappeared.
that was associated with the person or a certain type of group.
No, I just mean like just like normal people that might have just killed themselves. Like you know what I mean? Like normal people who have committed suicide. Like I don't know any. I can't think of
Well,
any off the top of my head. But like okay, so you don't, right? And most people don't, or most people like know one or two, or like maybe three. But nobody knows anybody who has like over 100.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Like that's how
Okay, right.
ridiculously like hilariously stupid this is. It's like there you can't know someone who knows someone who has people around them who have just killed themselves. Like 100 people? Come on now. 100 people. I don't even work with 100. Like
Who do you think is next?
who's next?
Yeah, who's next on the list? Might be Anthony
Me.
Weiner's wife.
It's gonna be me. It's gonna be me.
What are you associated with the Clintons?
I might be. I don't know. It just might happen.
You
If
look
I
like one of those
if I
Anthony
get
Weiners.
found if I get found in the bottom of like a lake because I like stabbed myself 35 times, like no seriously, by the way, this happened. This is not a joke. This happened. This is like
35 times and a handprint on the neck.
someone associate like there was like this is one of my because this is why it's one of my favorites because it's so stupid when you look through the stories and like they're like oh no this had to be a suicide. It's like how is this a suicide? There's like obviously like the most serious one is like the Vince Foster who was like White House counsel for Bill Clinton when he was president, and like you know he left work one day and then like killed himself like near midnight. Like he shot himself in the mouth.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Oh
like the
wow.
most yeah, that's like the most serious one just because it's like okay, like that's probably the guy who had like the most rank outside of like Jeffrey Epstein, obviously, everyone attributes to that. So obviously Jeffrey Epstein.
What year was this?
This is like in '93, I think. Vince Foster.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, this is like, and there was like, this was like a national scandal because it was like, okay, because like no one's ever seen this before. No one's ever seen this, but we've never really had this happen until they come into like, and this is the only thing. It's like, why are they the only ones who have this happen to? Like, not even like the Kennedys have this issue like where they all die because they do like some reckless shit, or mostly, yeah, it's like reckless shit. Either they do drugs or like or like they do this like insane stuff, like they ski when they shouldn't be skiing, or like JFK Jr. flies his own plane even though he shouldn't be flying his own plane, and he might be like intoxicated while he does it, and his wife decided to go with him for like no apparent reason. It's like that's like okay, yeah, they do stuff like that. That's why they're all dead. But then it's like again, to reaffirm this point, it's like who knows anybody who has like I don't know again, we don't know one person who killed themselves. How do two people on this planet know over 100 or are associated with over like 100, 200, 300 people that killed themselves or are mysteriously murdered? Like how? I don't get it.
Bad energy. Bad
No,
blood.
it's like how? It's like one of them is like I remember one of them on the list was like this intern who like worked at the White House in the 90s, and she just killed like apparently she just killed herself. Like what is going on here? What is going on here?
It's
Yeah, there's a Wikipedia list.
weird.
I'm gonna share that because it's like there's like so many people on this list, and obviously Wikipedia just says like, hey, This is just like, a conspiracy. Don't believe
It's
it.
like it's like a fetish. People want to kill themselves.
Dude, look at
I should have
so
said that.
here's the obviously here's the Wikipedia. Like, this is the hilarious part. There's a Wikipedia for this. Like, this
Clinton
is
body count conspiracy theory. Yeah, that's
okay.
amazing.
So obviously they say disproven that asserts that, Bill Clinton and his wife, Hillary Clinton, have had their political opponents murdered, totaling as 50 or more. Now it's like 300. Then there's like, so it started like in the 90s, where like these started coming out nationally, like through the Crimson Chronicles was like a documentary. Jerry Falwell promoted it. And then there was like people pretty much saying that Bill Clinton was guilty of murder. And then there's more people who like say these things. Like Donald Trump used to mention it. Marjorie Taylor Greene mentions anything, but she's my wife and I love her.
Yeah, she mentions anything. Yeah.
Yeah, like if there's any conspiracy theory that like involves any of these people, she's gonna say it. Like the water's making you gay because Obama is a faggot. It's like, okay, I mean, we get it, we get it. She'll say, I bet she'll say something like that one day. And then
Oh,
like,
she
but
probably
imagine
did.
all these people. Like, you can't like, okay, just these two. You can't know two teenagers killed themselves because and their bodies were placed. How does this? How are like two people accidentally put on railroad tracks? Two teenagers at the same time.
Who are teenagers?
How is it accidental? How do you rule it accidental? And then okay, say like, oh yeah, they were killed. It's like who accidentally? How does that make sense? How are you accidentally tying yourselves to railroad tracks and like and apparently so like I guess Linda Ives or Ivy is the mother of Kevin said that the boys came upon a drug drop from an airplane similar to Barry Seal. So that's like Barry Seal was like the informant that like did drug deals with the Colombian cartels, and they would like drop. The way they would smuggle it is like they would throw drugs from planes, and you
Uh-huh.
would find them in like in these like deserted areas. And so that's what they were saying, and they were saying like this that because Bill Clinton was the governor of Arkansas during this time, 1987. Apparently, he profited, and that he covered up the death of these boys because they found. So that's the conspiracy. And then it's like, okay, how did they die then? It's like, who killed them? Who killed two teenage boys and put their bodies on railroad tracks on August? Like, okay, there's
Wow,
none.
wow. This was interesting. Holy shit.
And then there's another one, Vincent Reiser. He's the chairman of finance for Bill Clinton in 1992. He dies in a plane crash with his son and three others during a fishing trip. That's one. That's like
Okay.
there's an intern who was gunned down out inside of Starbucks in Georgetown, where Mahoney was working behind the counter.
Former White House attention. Okay.
He was an intern. Vince Foster's the one, like he was found in some park, and then like some people were said, like, they said that he was a suicide, but he shot himself in the mouth. And there was like this rumor that he knew things that he shouldn't have. And then there's also like all these rumors that he does know things that he shouldn't have. Like that's kind of a rumor of so Bill Clinton's first campaign manager, I forget what his name is, but I can look it up, I guess. There's like this rumor because like apparently he like had like no reason to be a campaign manager, and then like they
Wow,
want
look at all that porn history.
thanks. And then oh yeah, so James Carville. So James Carville was like the campaign manager pretty much, and like the main guy behind his 1992 campaign versus Bush. This is like the only time James Carville has ever been in charge of a campaign, and he's still famous for like running this campaign. There's no reason, and so he looks like fucking Voldemort. And then
Ew, what the fuck is that?
so the conspiracy is that he knows things about the Clintons because there's no other reason why he should still be like extremely relevant or like famous in the Democratic Party. He's run no major campaign since this like no major campaign since this happened. Like nothing. Like he's done nothing important since, and he's like living off this like thing, and like he's famous, and people are saying like he obviously knows things. because like
Jeez, he's 78 years old. Holy crap.
yeah, he's old as hell, but he's like really famous in Democratic circles. Like he's big with the Clintons, and like the rumor is that he knows things about Bill
Okay.
because like he's like not ever in trouble for anything, and like he still gets like gigs and like, jobs for no reason. It's like this is like the main thing he's ever done, and he still like lives off of this, even though it happened in '92. So that's one of the theories. Then there's like, but like honestly, there can't be this many. Oh my God, there are others. Anthony Bourdain, Kobe Bryant, Ruth Bader
Kobe Bryant.
Ginsburg, Queen Elizabeth.
What? Queen Elizabeth, what the hell?
Oh my God. So this is the one. This is the one
Well,
that this is like probably like this one last year. Christopher Sign. I don't know if you remember this, but like I remember this in 2016. But he was that guy who broke the meeting of them. Remember when Bill Clinton met Loretta Lynch on the tarmac before she got on a plane before the
okay.
2016 election? I don't even remember this. But they met before she was supposed to get like charged for like the email scandal that she had. And Bill
Mm-hmm.
Clinton pretty much made like the plane stop from like departing and made Loretta Lynch the current then the Attorney General, which is like a big time job, cabinet level. Like this is the top law enforcement person in the country. Literally get off the plane, like literally stop her flight and say, "Hey, I'm going to talk to you and chat about." And like he said, they were just chatting about grandkids, but there's no legitimate reason for that. Yeah, that's his
Mm-hmm.
excuse. And so this is the journalist that broke that meeting because it was like supposed to be secret. And then like randomly he dies like he just dies 5 years later in his house. Like he kills himself in his home. 5 years like he just like it just happens. Like he just kills himself.
He just
And
all
like
happened to kill himself. That's
they
great.
just do for like and it's like why? Like what are we talking about? And then
Well, the Jeffrey Epstein is the most famous.
yeah, that's like then like the Trump tweets about like the Epstein thing, and then it was like, where did he post? They don't have his tweet up there, right? What did he retweet? Oh, he retweeted something. Yeah, he retweeted this one. Terrence Williams died of suicide on 24/7 suicide watch. Yeah, right. How does that happen? Jeffrey Epstein had information on Bill Clinton, and now he's dead. I see Trump body count trending, but we all know who did this. It's like, yeah, obviously they had a hand in doing it. It's like obviously. And then there's like Seth Rich. Obviously, Seth Rich is like the biggest one. He's like one of the biggest ones. Just because like he believed, because he's like a staff member, and then like I forget why exactly he was like brought up, but like he was like this randomly just like he was murdered, and like nobody wanted to investigate it, and I think it's still like unsolved. Apparently, like there was a part like some people said that he knew things about
Mm-hmm.
like the Clintons and like the election and stuff, and then like they killed themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
potentially, oh, this is why, because they said that potentially he had been responsible for the WikiLeaks release of DNC emails during the 2016 campaign. You remember that?
No, no, I don't.
You remember when this was like emails were released from like the DNC. Pretty much most of them were pretty much talking about like how they rigged the election for Hillary instead of Bernie.
Oh, right, right, right.
And then the other
Oh,
parts were
oh,
like
okay, okay.
other emails like kind of fed into the other conspiracy theory, which is like hilarious that like the people like most people, Democrats in government and some Republicans in government, um, are like part of this like international child sex trafficking ring. You know that Pizzagate? You remember Pizzagate?
Yeah, I remember
Now, yeah, there were emails in there that pretty much that started that whole thing, which is also hilarious. But this is like the most hilarious one. There's one that's not on here, which is like my favorite one. It's not like good that it's my favorite one, but it's hilarious that like it's like still ruled a suicide. Like there was this like U.S. attorney who worked in the Baltimore office, and he drove like 200 miles north into Pennsylvania, like Harrisburg, drove his car into a lake, went into the back seat, and stabbed himself 36 times with a pen.
that. Oh my God.
Yeah, and then that was ruled a suicide.
Dude got big balls.
It's like how why is this like how is this not funnier?
I'm
Right?
actually curious what the JFK Jr. one. Scroll down.
Yeah, JFK Jr. was running for the Senate, was gonna run for the Senate apparently. When Hillary ran in 2000. She ran as the for the Senate. And she had never like lived, she was, really barely from New York. Like she was raised in the South. She was barely from New York. She put on a Yankee hat and was like, "Oh yeah, I love, bagels." And then, then she won. And there was an incumbent, Daniel Patrick Moynihan. He was the incumbent senator, and he was going to retire. And so JFK Jr. Was like thinking of running, and he was going to win because he's like, he was, pretty much kind of from New York. He was the son of JFK. He was, people liked him. He was charismatic. He was like, probably going to be the next president if he
Wow.
ran.
Imagine him being senator instead of Hillary.
Yeah, and so then he died in a plane crash in '99, and like the story is that like um he was driving the plane even though he shouldn't have been doing so. And his wife was there with him, so like any chance of like a family of like children was like kind of gone. I don't even know if they had children. Did they have children? Yeah, they didn't have children because he died at 38 and he had no children. But he was married to this guy, Jeanette. Obviously he was, big time. That's him and his dad. Um, I think he was like the youngest. That's him saluting his dad. Why does Wikipedia do this? Like that's the famous photo. He's saluting his dad as the casket comes by. So like obviously Kennedy, and this was him in '98. I mean, who doesn't vote for this for senator? I mean, come on now. Let's not play games here. This guy is winning.
Who's that? He's a handsome man.
Exactly. He's winning. He's a Kennedy. He's handsome. He's charismatic. He talks. People like him. Um, you know.
So apparently he was going to play with his family, but then they told him not to.
Yeah. So here it is. It's like, he departed from Fairfield, New Jersey, with his wife and his sister-in-law, attended the wedding of his cousin Rory Kennedy. Um, okay, she's hot. Well, no,
He's
never
pretty.
mind.
Man.
No, look at it again. Kind of, not really. And then
Oh yeah, they see them
they were
right now.
sitting passengers. The plane was reported, but it failed to arrive on schedule. So he checked into the control tower at Martha's Vineyard, but then the plane went reported missing after it failed to arrive on schedule. And it's like, okay,
Weird.
weird. And then let's see, they find the fragments of his plane in the water in the ocean. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So I mean, RFK Jr. kind of talked about this because he was asked like, why do people in his family keep dying, or why did they keep dying? I think people asked him, and I think he said that I think he gave like this background that he wasn't really supposed to be flying that plane. People were saying that he shouldn't have been. So let's see. This is Michael Kennedy. Michael Kennedy was the son of RFK. This was like he died in a skiing accident. This is like the thing. They die from like the craziest things. Like either they're killed by the Clintons or like they're on drugs or they do this. Like they just ski and they shouldn't be skiing at all. And so then his sister Caroline
Dude, that's
told them,
so weird.
yeah, they die. This family dies all the damn time. They're like,
And it's like that family is insanely cursed.
yes, exactly. That's kind of the thing. And so this is who's this? Oh, this is him right here. This is Caroline Kennedy. This is I forget who this is.
Pretty.
This is Jackie. She's like really
Yo,
old.
her eyes are insanely wide. So
Well, yeah, that's
she,
Nancy.
she can see she can see both sides of the world.
That's Ted Kennedy. This guy, both sides of the world. And then, yeah, that's JFK Jr. I mean, honestly, this is Ronald Reagan. If you don't know that, and this is Ted Kennedy. I mean, but
Wow, that's Reagan. Oh my god.
most of his family is like mired in scandal. So it's like he like murdered a woman. Um, she married this guy for money, and then afterwards, that's why her last name is Onassis. She married this like Greek billionaire. Um,
Bruh.
for like and then I guess like she sort of like kind of regretted it, but actually no, she didn't. She felt she was like extremely in love. I get it though, because apparently she did not handle her husband being shot in front of her well. And by the way, who could blame her? Nobody would. She's still around. She's like a puppet. I mean, all the Kennedys that are still around are puppets of the Democratic Party. That's pretty much it. Like they're just
Mhm.
puppets. Except for RFK Jr. Um, they're just puppets. Like she tried to run for the Congress in New Jersey, even though she'd never like lived in New Jersey, but she had like a vacation home here. And so she decided that she could run and you know, it didn't work out at all. And now she's the ambassador to like what's it called? Um to Australia. And
Oh,
it's like
this is her. Okay.
this is like the only remaining child of JFK Jr. And then
This is the one that used to she was married with Cuomo, no?
no. Cuomo married I think one of RFK's what's it called? Children.
Oh, okay.
Or was it Ted Kennedy's children? Yeah, let me see. I mean, I could probably find this now while we're talking about that. But yeah, there's like way too many people honestly dying from this, and this is why it's like one of my favorite conspiracy theories. Because it's like
Well,
uh
go ahead, go ahead.
because it's like nobody knows anybody who has this much death happen around them. And it's like Patrick on that episode could have asked Anthony Weiner better. That's probably my only critique of that segment is that you could have asked him better because he tried to get away with they're like in their 70s. Everybody dies at that time. It's like no, buddy. Nobody has over 300 people in their lifetime killing themselves allegedly. I mean, you just don't. You just don't. Or let's say even if it's this number 50. Let's just say it's 50. That's still a lot. You know, like you know someone. You know 50 people that have killed themselves or have been murdered.
Yeah.
That's like impossible. You just can't. You just can't. Like that just doesn't happen.
Um, have you followed up with what's happening with Obama's former chef?
Yeah, so apparently like he died. He like I guess he drowned in a pool.
Pretty around, yeah.
He drowned and like there was these things where like he had these like weird TikToks that like he would say like I'm swimming even though I don't know how to swim and it's like okay, why are you swimming if you don't know how to swim? And then it was like I guess like he was learning how to swim and then he didn't. I mean, it's like I don't even know if that's like a conspiracy theory because it's like, does Obama really have people dying around him? I think his like theory is that he just bombs the shit out of the country.
No, I mean, yeah, that's
I think that's his reputation. He's
I
gay.
think, I, I think his, yeah, I think his
Yeah,
former chef might be the first one in the body count
honestly.
list.
Yeah, it's like the only Obama conspiracy theories that I actually have any interest in, and it's like even like two of them are theories, and then the third is like kind of just a fact at this point. The first is that he's like gay, and his that is that he's actually gay. His second is that his wife is a man, and then the third is that he's a warmonger. And those are like that's like everything you have to know about him at this point.
Yeah.
I could have wrote that biography.
Well, why don't you?
I should. So this is JFK's dad. This is the man who started it all because he had an ego and he knew he wouldn't be president, so he wanted his family to become president because he thought he'd have because he wanted to run the country through them. And he was
Wow.
like a people like look up to him, and then like he was a disgusting man. He was like he intended for his children to be great politicians. He like people talk about the Kennedys being like this like I guess we'll talk about the Kennedys now because I guess we haven't before. But the Kennedys are an artificial creation. They're not real. They were created by this guy, the dad, the grandfather. They came from money. He was an ambassador. He was like a government politician. He was an official. Like he served on different things. He had influence. He was born into money. Like he was born into a political family. This isn't like a real. This is not a real family. Like he was invented to like he invented his like the stories about him is that he married his wife because she was hot. I guess for the time. I guess. And that I guess she was like connected with like other Irish people, I think. And so I guess like she was like also like famous or like her family had power. And so like he kind of like he pretty much like engineered the whole thing. Like he said like I'm gonna have children that are gonna be influential and he pretty much raised them in a way that they would be. So he made sure that his sons did everything they had to do. Join the military,
Damn, they got
fight in
nine
wars.
children. Holy shit.
They had 9 children. I think one died because he was like, and then one was retarded, which was I think Jean. No, Jean is a woman. Kathleen. No, who was the retarded one?
Ew.
I think was it Rose?
I know you're pretty retarded.
Yes, but we all know
He
that.
looks retarded.
I think it was Rosemary. Yeah, Rosemary's the retarded one. Yeah, this is the one. See, apparently it said she was retarded and like she was sick, and then like she had like she okay so she had seizures, mood swings, and then her dad kind of just forced her to have this like surgery when she was only 23 years old, and she couldn't like speak in like correctly ever again. And then they hid
Oh,
her. And then they hid her because it wouldn't be politically correct for her family. And this was at the time. And then she was kind of like pretty much like
wow.
they kind of like erased her from he made sure like he erased her from like the family because she was like I guess he had a disability and you know they kind of just made
He
sure
died in
like
2005. Oh, wow.
she was old, yeah, like she's like the only one,
86.
and she had to live all these years because he pretty much made her have this surgery. I don't know. I can't explain what the surgery is. I'm not a doctor. Um, but like they kind of he forced her to have the surgery, and then after that, like she couldn't really speak ever. It's like it's okay. See, Joseph Kennedy decided that Rosemary should have a lobotomy. However, he did not inform his wife of this decision after the procedure was completed. Um, she was mildly sedated. We went through the top of the head. I think she was awake. She had a mild tranquilizer. I made an incision in the brain through the skull. It was near the front on both sides. She was awake, by the way. Um, that's it. That's insane. And then the doctor told Kessler that she did not have mental retardation, but rather a form of depression. She had a mental disorder, and no, she was pretty much hidden away. Yeah, I mean that's how sick this family was. Just imagine that. This is supposed to be the people's family. The
Imagine
father.
living her life. Imagine living her life knowing that you're the only Kennedy alive until 2005 and seeing all the shit that happened to your siblings.
I mean, this is like what I think.
It's
I've
insane.
always asked this, and I guess like I guess I'll never know the answer unless I look it up on Google after this. It's like, do retarded people think retarded, or are they do can they think normally?
I'm actually curious. How do you think?
Because that's kind of like that's kind of the same as your question. Like if she thinks normally, but she can only like portray outside that she's retarded, that's kind of sad. Because it's like, yeah, she saw her dad get killed, even though she wasn't allowed to be near them. I mean, honestly, she was not allowed to see them for years. Like they pretty much hear her. The dad made her be hidden away in a mental institution in Wisconsin. Wisconsin. This family's from New England, Massachusetts, pretty much. They hid her away cross country.
Wow.
So that's that one.
I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, well, this is this guy. This is the dad of everybody who people think is like. And then the sons were no better, by the way. The sons were. So this was supposed to be the one that became the president before everybody else, but he died in war. He died in World War II. He died in Operation Aphrodite. He was in the Navy and he died in a war. So, obviously, and he was supposed to be a politician. So he was supposed to, I guess, be a senator or something. Oh, no, see, he was a delegate and he was supposed to run for the Congress after his military service, after stepping stone on the path to the White House. So yeah, so just imagine this. The dad pretty much planned for his children to be presidents, senators, pretty much because the dad knew he could never be that himself and that he wanted to have some power before he died. And it's only fitting. Do you want to know what happened to the dad?
Probably.
The dad apparently had a stroke and could never speak again. So pretty much what happened to his daughter that she couldn't speak
That's not,
correctly. He had a
it's
stroke.
ironic.
Yeah, it's ironic. He had a stroke and then never able to speak again. That's kind of just what happened to me. Illness and death. See, in 1961, at the age of 73, he had a stroke. He survived, but was left paralyzed in his right side. Therefore, he had aphasia, which left him severely affected to speak. He remained mentally
Wow.
alert, had to walk with a cane, but he couldn't. Pretty much, he couldn't really speak, so he's kind of like mute for most of his life. I mean, he died like he saw his son die. He saw both of his sons die, assassinated for president. And then he died in 1969. And then his wife, Rose, the mom of JFK, she died in 1995, and then their daughter died in 2005. This is them. This is him. This is mostly the family. This is JFK. This is RFK, and I believe this is Ted, if I'm right.
That looks like stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this is just the rest of the family. I think this is I forget what her name is.
So
Oh, that's
Rosemary
Jackie.
Langlander.
No, that's Jackie. Fuck. And so yeah, that's the family. And yeah, well that's the dad. Yep. So this is the retarded one I think is yeah, far right. This is her. This is apparently like the last photo they have of him before like she was sent off, I guess, to like a mental institution, I guess.
You know she has a name, right?
Rosemary.
But you call her retard.
Well, that's what had happened to her. And so yeah, see, this is all the children. Um So Eunice Mary Kennedy, oh, she's the one who had the children. Now Maria was married. Maria was married to Arnold Schwarzenegger. By the way, this is the one that was married to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he married a Kennedy too, and then got caught cheating on his maid with that one. And they finalized divorce. And hey, it is what it is. And then let's see, who's the one who married the fucking the Cuomo? I feel like he married one of them. Who's that one? Was it She never had children. Patricia, did she have children? Christopher,
Wow, 2006. Wow.
RFK Jr. He also had like 11 kids. See, he had 11 kids. Ow, Kathleen. She was a lieutenant governor of Maryland. He was a
Ew.
one-time congressman. He was supposed to be president, but then he quit out of nowhere. RFK Jr.
Maybe he was
obviously.
afraid. He was afraid to get assassinated.
Carrie. She married the Cuomo. Carrie. So RFK's daughter married Cuomo. And they were married for 15 years. And then they divorced.
Oh, the divorce.
Yeah, so that's like no, yeah. So the family's like outstretched. It's a big family. I mean, most of them have died. Kathleen she's
Huge
still
family.
alive. Michael, he died on a skiing trip. Chris, he's still alive. Max, is So Douglas, he's still alive. Rory, she's still alive. She's a
Huge,
filmmaker.
huge family, but all of them look like a lost cause. Except
Oh yeah,
for
no, they're all Democratic puppets. I mean, he's the only one that was kind of on his own, and then he like quit out of nowhere. So he was a congressman from 1987 to 1999. Then he quit. And then his son, do you remember him? You probably remember. You don't remember him? He
like
was a
totally.
congressman. He was the last Kennedy to have a seat in Congress. And he ran
Under
congressman.
Joe Biden.
And then he ran for Congress, and then he wanted to become a senator, and he primaried Ed Markey,
Okay.
uh, who's the senator from Massachusetts, and lost because he thought he could win. But it turns out that Ed Markey was more progressive than he was, and he lost. And then there's no more Kennedys in power anymore. So you can just write it right here. Um, so yeah, and then pretty much he was the first in his family to lose an election in Massachusetts. Yeah, and that's how political families die. Um, yeah, but they all had all these problems. Like Ted Kennedy murdered a woman. That was a scandal, but nobody really talks about that. This one, the Chappaquiddick. He was driving this drunk girl he had on their family's like island or yacht, and then the car, he was drunk, and so was the girl, and he was giving her a ride back to her house apparently, but obviously that could be, let's see, you know, let's see if that's true. And he was a congressman at the time, like he was a sitting congressman. And Mary Jo, they were in
He
a car.
later received a 2 month suspended sentence. Okay.
Yeah, she died. She died in this. What happened was that their car fell into the water. It slipped out of the road and it fell into it fell pretty much into like into the bay. Fell into the bay. And he did not save her. She drowned in the car. He saved himself and she drowned alive.
Wow.
And that was the scandal. She like was a worker. Like this family, they would have like sex parties with interns in Washington. And they would bring them to like New England or like women in the New England area who worked in their New England offices. And they would have sex, like they would have like sex parties. Him, JFK, RFK. It was like a rumor that like RFK slept with like Jackie and like
Okay.
in that he knew about it and like I guess like they would both like tag team and like they would also like cheat
What
on their
the fuck?
wives and like that they would cheat on their wives and stuff. You know what I mean? Like these were the rumors. Like these were the rumors that were like they're still here. And they would like have sex with interns and they would have like naked pool parties in the White House when he was president. And he would be on like JFK and RFK were like on drugs all the time. Like they were like on like speed and they would get like injected with drugs. Um, and they would do this with like their interns or like with their staff because what he did when he came in is that he hired a lot of young people. Eisenhower had like a normal White House because it had like a lot of elderly more people. And then JFK just like came in and hired a lot of young people to spur the new generation, apparently, of the boomers, pretty much just boomers. And,
Mm.
people that fought in the war and women that were like his age, the 20s, 30s, 40s. And all these people, like from his generation, and they would all do drugs and he would have like, again, naked orgies in the White House and pool parties. And like there were people that like would drown or die or like, be overdosed. And like he had a doctor who would come to the White House. Like he was called Dr. There was a movie. Um, his name was Dr. Feelgood. And there was like a movie
Dr.
that
Rajesh.
Dr. Feelgood. He was like Dr. Feelgood was like this song was based on
Feel
this
good.
song. This song was pretty much based on, I think, um, the Kennedys pretty much. See? The strange saga of JFK and the original Dr. Feelgood. This is him. It was this guy that would like inject him with drugs. Inject him with drugs. That's pretty much it. And that was the rumor that the Kennedys were like always on drugs and that they would go like internationally, like every time, like if the Kennedys were going on like a foreign policy trip to like Paris or something, the doctor would come along and would inject them with drugs, cocaine or speed or whatever they're using at the time, heroin. And yeah, they would be drugged out. Yeah, that was that one. That's a conspiracy theory. Apparently, you can't really talk about that. The Democrats, I guess, they pretend to love them, but they don't anymore because of RFK, RFK Jr.
Yeah.
So RFK Jr. too, he's like another one. He talks about all the great things his parent, his dad, and his uncle were. It's like, yeah, but they also like were women, like they were pretty sexist. Like to be honest, they're part of the reason there's like the feminist movement. All of this. They just hide because guess what? They have this. They're Democrats. So anything they want is acceptable. And then like so Ted Kennedy
Bro,
had
what the
like
fuck
these
is that?
children. These are Ted Kennedy's children. That's Ted Kennedy's child. He was like a congressman too, and then she was like forget what she was. I don't think she was a politician, but like he was like a businessman, he's a lawyer. Yeah, they're all like
Yeah, I was gonna throw a politician. Holy shit.
yeah, so most of them were politicians, and then for some reasons like some of them die. Like a lot of them die from like these weird things. And yeah, that's the other one. Um yeah, but no, this family's like again, my point about this family is because a lot of the time we like to pretend that these people were like authentically transparent. It's like these people are artificial. They were not. They weren't born this way. They were pretty much breeded to become this. They from the day they were born, they were breeded and raised and groomed to be politicians, to be
Yeah,
presidential
it's like
candidates.
force breed. Yeah.
Yeah, they were pretty much raised to be this. I mean, look at this. So like they were obviously in one of the wealthiest families. Um, they went to the biggest schools. Like they went to the Fred Ensign School. This was a boarding school for the intellectually gifted. That's where they went. And then they went to prep
Oh,
schools in Massachusetts. They all went to pretty much Harvard or Yale. Harvard, duh. And they played sports and they went to the military and they were groomed to be politicians. And so it's like this idea that they were authentic. It's like, yeah, some of the things were great. Like, yeah, Kennedy said great things and he was against war. But this idea that he was like this um political, grassroots person is just not real. It's not real. He wasn't born for this, but they were made for this, I guess is the correct thing to say.
right, right.
Yeah. And then here's the next by the way, did you hear about the Ron DeSantis in the news? Have you heard about that?
What about?
Because this is hilarious. You didn't see the news about him? There's
I
this
don't care about him anymore, honestly.
oh my God, this is hilarious to me. Um so you know how they're trying to do the new curriculum in Florida for like African American studies and like history.
Okay, right, right, right.
Okay. There's apparently this sentence in like a lot of the pages of the curriculum. There's just like this part where they say that slavery benefited black people pretty much. There's like this line that says slaves benefited from slavery.
I've heard that line somewhere. I know someone said that too.
Yes, but it's just stupid to say that. It's a
Right.
stupid thing to say that, especially when you're running for president. And then the dumbest thing he could also have done is then double down on that. And that's exactly what he did. And that's exactly what his campaign did.
But he actually said it.
They doubled down, they defended it. He didn't say it. Like the thing he organized came out with it. And instead of saying that, hey, you know what, that's not actually what we want, he doubled down and defended it. It's like, no, that's good. That just means that there's different viewpoints. It's like, wait, no. Why are you defending this? You're
Oh,
running for
why?
what is wrong with you? And then my reaction to
Imagine Trump
this,
saying that.
oh my God, imagine, just imagine. And then, and then, my reaction was like, someone needs to write a book on how DeSantis ran the dumbest presidential campaign ever. Like, someone needs to put DeSantis 2024 stupid. That's what that like equals stupidity. Because like, there's no reason you guys are this bad at what they're like. How bad can they be? You know how bad they are, right? They're so bad that I could probably run that campaign and actually do better.
Maybe. I mean, what's the poll right now?
Where's he polling?
Yeah,
He's polling like at the same level he's always been or less.
like 15, 20%.
I think he's like in the 20s. I think he's like in the 20s, I think. Maybe like 22, 25%. And then what they're saying is that like, oh, it's this is just starting. It's like, no, this
No, no, you
you've
should
been
fucking
here. You've been here for 6 months now, buddy. You've been here for six
yeah,
months.
you should start it way before.
Like, you've been here for 6 months and you should be doing better, not be going down in the polls every month since you announced. Like, I get it in November you were tied with Trump. It's gonna be August of 2023, not November of 2022. And you're like down like 30, 40 points from Trump. You're down 30, 40 points and you were tied with him, virtually tied in November. Like, this has to be the stupidest campaign ever and that I've seen in a long time.
I agree.
This just has to be because like it just like it just has to be. It just has to be. So that was my other thing. It's like, why are you defending slavery? And why are you saying things like, oh, but it's a different viewpoint. It's like, okay, I get it. All right. Okay. I'm gonna try to make this make sense out of this, out of what he said. It's like, okay, did some slaves benefit from slavery because they learned how to persevere and work through determination, sure. But you don't need to be a slave to learn how to be a hard worker and to be determined and not to give up in life. You don't have to be. There's people who do that without becoming slaves in 2023. Like, it's a stupid thing to say. Now, like, and so I don't know. Well, none of us watch. I don't watch Fox News anymore. I don't know if you watch it. Do you watch Fox News?
Nope, never.
No.
Haven't.
Okay. So it's like I guess the five. You know the five, right? That show.
Yeah.
It's like Jesse Waters, Dana, Judge Janine, Greg Gutfeld.
Right.
They have like these
Yeah.
like floating limbs. There's one of them is Jessica Tarlov. So apparently they were
Mhm.
talking about this, I guess, yesterday, and Greg Gutfeld pretty much said that like, hey, um, Jessica Tarlov was pretty much saying that like, oh, this is like a conspiracy theory that people have. It's like, and like to say this about the Jewish people who say that like the Jews benefited from the Holocaust because it made them hard workers after that. It's like, all right, no. The people who say that are obviously dumb. That's no. But and then Greg's reply to that, and by the way, there's nothing incorrect about what he's saying. Nothing incorrect. I don't think you know this, but there's a book by Viktor Frankl who was pretty much he was a victim of the Holocaust, and he was at a I think he was at Auschwitz, and after he left, he wrote this book called Maps of Meaning, and it's like an incredibly famous book. It's like one of the most famous books you could ever read. If you're like interested, if you like Jordan Peterson's book, Jordan Peterson talks about Viktor Frankl a lot, and he mentions it in the book, 12 Rules for Life, and then Maps of Meaning, which was inspired by that. Viktor Frankl pretty much says that how suffering it's pretty much like a psychological and like a very spiritual and I guess not spiritual, but like it's a very like deep down book on how suffering, how people who endure tremendous amounts of suffering can endure tremendous can become stronger in levels no one's ever seen after that. How that pretty much in how that can help you become a well functioning adult in life. And he talks about his experience in labor camps under the Nazis because he was a Jew. And Viktor Frankl was extremely important. And same thing with people like Václav Havel, who then became the leaders of free Czechoslovakia. And Viktor Frankl was like a big deal for those. Like he was an inspiration for a lot of those people because they also talked about like in those books they also talked about kind of like how these systems become into happening, how they come into being, like how do ordinary Germans become Nazis? How do 20-year-old German men become Nazis one day into the other? How do you become a German? How do us, let's imagine we're in Germany in 1933 and we're leaving high school. Kind of just explain to how do we become Nazis? How do we become people who graduate high school? We have no idea what Nazism is. We don't hate Jews, but out of nowhere, and we go from that to literally a year later, we're at Auschwitz, and we're prison guards in Auschwitz. Like, imagine they talk about that. They talk about what happens and
Yeah.
how these things happen to people. And there's like a lot of books in that of that era, Solzhenitsyn and Václav Havel and Viktor Frankl. They all talk about that. They all talk about how human beings can achieve huge amounts of evil and how they can avoid huge amounts of committing huge amounts of terror and evil and the suffering you have to go through in life to become better and to develop as a human being and how to be a functional person in society. I mean, and he uses that, the suffering that Jews endured helped them in some way. It wasn't good that they went through this, but it I guess like it was I guess it instilled them the need to adapt and stuff like that. And so she freaked out. She said, "How dare you?" And obviously they're talking about the DeSantis comments. It's like it's not a smart thing to say, but it's not wrong. And I don't really know if you could say that because this is the whole point. That like how black people like pretty much the libs pretty much blame white people for slavery, and it's like they committed like
Yeah.
crimes, and they're the only reason slaves exist, even though slaves existed way before white people ever had an African slave. And by the way, Africans
Right.
enslaved Africans before they sold a single slave to a white person. and
Mhm.
the Arabs had been enslaving Africans and white people for years, also for centuries and decades, also. So there's this huge lack of context, and so it's like, yes, that's right. You should be saying this. This is what you should be saying. That Africans enslaved each other for centuries before they sold one single African slave to a white person. Also, what they should be saying is that there are more slaves in the world today than there are at the height of the transatlantic slave trade, which nobody
Uh,
talks about. There are more slaves
nope.
in the world today than there were in America at any point. There are also more slaves in Brazil at one point than there ever were in America in the in slavery in the South. Brazil had more slaves than America ever had in southern antebellum America. In the antebellum meaning before the Civil War, antebellum South. So I mean, just imagine them. Imagine these are South Americans, by the way. South America, Hispanics, pretty much. Brazilians kind of count as Hispanic. So imagine they had more slaves than the racist white people in America did. And by the way, I mean, yeah, they were racist white, but it's like, why don't you focus on that? Why did you have to say that? Yeah, no, some slaves benefited from slavery because, like, they learned hard lessons and, like, how to be hard workers. It's like, why would you say stuff like this? And then why would you defend it and say, oh no, we should be having these discussions. You should be having these discussions, not now.
Yeah, a lot of people would take that out of context for sure.
What?
On him defending it.
But it's like, why are you saying this at all?
They're gonna end up calling him a racist. I can
It's like,
even
no,
see
they
it
already
happening.
are. It's like they just signed the bill. They just signed the bill targeting this. Kamala Harris is in Florida as we speak, pretty much saying that the Florida group is racist and that the African Americans on the board that let this happen are also racist. So black people that let
Oh
this
my god,
happen are also racist.
he just made it worse.
Yeah, no, no, it's horrible. It's like why are you this dumb? And so let's see, DeSantis.
Yeah, man, I don't want to vote for 2028.
No, it's yeah, he just ruined the whole thing. And then
He
there's all
really
these
did.
articles here. And then Chris Christie pretty much like said, Christie on slavery, DeSantis started this fire. Yeah, he did, because he was the one who pretty much came out and said that we needed the committee to approve more of the um he's the one that wanted this to be happen. Like, he's the one who started this. He's the one who came out and said we need to have curriculum on African American studies because we don't want woke. Because
Mm,
remember, it's to stop the woke, the bill that he
right.
signed, or that the state legislature created and then signed. It's
Mm.
like it's like yeah,
Why are
and
you drinking that?
this
Why?
because it's good. And then
Should be drinking water, stupid. But yeah, you didn't even drink it at all.
yeah, dude, I have like fucking 15 bottles of water in this room. And then and then DeSantis pretty much came out and said, "Oh no, that has nothing to do with me. This isn't really my problem." It's like, okay, you should also shouldn't say that. It's like, who
Well,
is
yeah,
telling him what
exactly.
to say? This is the point. It's like, who is telling him what to say? Who is doing these things? Why? Like,
Now watch his polls drop.
and they're dropping. Vivek is like tied. I think Vivek is like third now. Vivek polled at like 1%.
Holy shit!
Vivek is third now, and Vivek was polling like at 1% like a month
Where's he
ago.
at right now?
Let's see. He's polling. Let's do the
Wow, look at him. He is playing it smart, actually.
And you know what the smartest thing about him is? It's like he's not trying to pretend he's Donald Trump. He's pretty much saying that I love Trump.
Yeah.
Let's see, The Hill. There's a poll, and The Hill says that Ramaswamy ticks up in GOP primary poll against Trump and DeSantis. So today there was a Harvard's Harris poll surveyed on Monday. 52% said they would vote for Trump. 12% said DeSantis, and 10% said Ramaswamy.
1%.
Trump lost 7 points. Ramaswamy gained 8 points. This was different. So if they were also asked if Trump decided not to run in the primary, who would they vote for? DeSantis was at 29%, while Ramaswamy jumped 19%, increasing 12%. DeSantis minus 12% from last time they did this. Mike Pence at 13%. They're saying that Ramaswamy is getting a boost because DeSantis voters are looking to elsewhere and they're not really liking the governor because he's a pussy and he's also stupid and not good at campaigning at all. And no, he's not. This is the thing. It's like, yeah, he's not good at campaigning. It's like DeSantis is not good at campaigning. You know why? Because DeSantis never had a personality, never really needed to campaign after the Trump endorsements. He used his record on one thing, COVID. That's the only thing he did, and barely. Because DeSantis
COVID
did
and
have
Disney.
lockdowns. DeSantis did stop people from traveling into his state. He had border checks in the borders of Florida at entryways like on I-95. There were checkpoints where he didn't let people come into Florida if they weren't like COVID tested or like had a vaccine at one point. He did this. And then he did a perfect media spin because there was nothing else going on, and the Republicans wanted a hero after Donald Trump was gone, and said, "Oh no, I'm the true Republican. I'm the one who defeated. I'm the one who fought Fauci," which is also bullshit because like he didn't fight anybody. He just the Constitution lets you do things on your own in your own state, which is it's called federalism. He's a lawyer. He knows this, but he's also a slick politician, except when he's running for office because when he runs for office, he's stupid. It's like I also don't care if he does well because I'm voting for Trump, and I don't think he should have ever run. But I mean, watching him do like, I just hate when people are dumb.
Well, you can't fix that, man.
I know that's the problem. He's like for a
This
guy
world is
like
not perfect. I think we kind of do need dumb people.
but this is the problem. It's like for a guy that campaigned and kind of bragged about how smart he was because he knows all the policies and how he's like really researched and he knows exactly how to do things and fix problems. You're really stupid at this. You're not just dumb. You're just like retarded. And so like there's like this new thing where like they're like resetting. There's like this new the DeSantis campaign is doing a reset. Well, I can find it here where they're pretty much trying to go to the where they're kind of go to the media and saying, "Hey guys, we're doing a new staff." They fired 1/3 of the people. Um, they're just they're just doing some things insane. They like there's like this thing leaked apparently where pretty much um they're saying that they're gonna restart the campaign and that they're gonna try to like embrace the underdog, that they're the ones that they never give up, that they're resilient, that that even though they're down, they're
Restart.
never
That's not
out.
gonna make me. That doesn't make any sense. Why restart?
Well, like a reset. And so they fired like 1/3 of their campaign staff nationwide. Um and now
What
they're
makes
like,
them think that they're gonna win?
if I knew the answer to that, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. There's nothing. I don't know. There's nothing. There's no signs that leans are gonna win.
As soon as Ron decided to run, he should start it from that point. Don't start now. Don't start in the next 3 4 months. He
It's
should have started way before.
it's also like, yeah, people are getting to know you, and it's like the rumors are already out there. The rumors are out there that you don't like to be uncomfortable. You don't like to be in situations where you can't control them. You don't like long format. You only like 10, 20 minutes
Yeah,
max.
we don't need that. We don't need that. Get him
When
out.
people meet you, they say that you're boring and that you laugh weird. You eat stuff
Well,
with your fingers, apparently. Um,
I want to hear him laugh. Actually,
and then it's like And then it's like there's just a reputation that you're weird. And then it's just a reputation. So it's like we're gonna have to fix this because
No, you're gonna fix it.
I mean, what do you think this guy laughs like? Look, what do you think this guy laughs like?
I think he probably laughs like Tucker Carlson.
And then there's this one right here. It's like, I mean, this guy couldn't have said it. I mean, by the way, this face, this is the DeSantis fan. This guy right here. This is the DeSantis campaign. This is the DeSantis voter. Like, unnecessarily like this. I mean, just let me. Why? 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 Why?
Because.
Seriously.
Oh my god, what the hell? Swallowing that dick.
Seriously. It's like, it is disturbing. Thank you for this guy's literally said it. It's like, this is disturbing. Yeah, it's extremely disturbing. Extremely disturbing. It's like, oh no. And then
oh, my daddy Elon.
So then there's videos. I guess we can go to videos. We'll play a video here. And then let's see, there's a YouTube video. Laughs like this and thinks he can judge. I mean, this is the Young Turks, but occasionally. Oh, Mickey. Hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
No, go back again.
All right. Well, we're gonna
I don't hear anything.
You can't hear anything?
No.
Alrighty, we're going to put the thing here. Let's see, share sound. Here we go. All right, let's see which one it is.
Crazy. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay, don't back down. We won't.
This wife's not on Danny Nine. Oh my god.
We were talking about that. Crazy. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay, don't back down. We won't.
Yeah, no,
you can boo all.
What a dirty bitch.
Look, I knew
That's
that.
badass out here.
And then he laughs right here.
What is your favourite nickname that Trump's given you so far? Is it Ron the Sanctimonious or Meatball Ron?
Well, I can't.
I think even he went off Meatball Ron.
I can't. I don't know how to spell De Sanctimonious. I don't really know what it means, but I kind of like it's long. It's got a lot of vowels. I mean, so we go with that. That's fine. You can call me whatever you want. I mean, just as long as you also call me a winner, because that's what we've been able to do in Florida is put a lot of points on the board and really take the state to the next level.
What is your favourite nickname that Trump's given?
God, he sounds just like my brother when he's trying to find a way to counterattack someone's insult. It's like he sounds like my brother. That's great.
Well, it's and then these are these
that you come too hot through the whole thing, and there's
it deserves to be hot. I mean, I'm sorry.
You can go there in moments without having it become.
Kavanaugh showed that when you say
no. Look, I think there.
I mean, the thing is we did such a horrible job of pushing back on all these stupid stories from the beginning that he's gonna rattle off a list.
Yes, he is. That you come too hot through the whole thing, and there's.
It deserves to be hot. I mean, I'm sorry.
You can.
Yeah, apparently there's these rumors that he's impatient and this is the thing.
Dude acts like a Karen.
He is a
Karen.
Karen.
The NRA donated to me? I don't think the NRA is quite the boogeyman the Democrats think it is. Do we hit him on guns, or just everyone who cares about guns is going to vote for me?
Is there any issue upon which you disagree with President Trump?
Obviously there is, because I've voted contrary to him in the Congress. I have to frame it in a way that's not going to piss off all his voters. So what I do is I do what I think is right. I support his agenda in terms of what he's been able to do. If I have a disagreement, I talk to him in private.
I think when you walk up there, if you have a pad, you have to write in all caps at the top of the pad, likable. And just look, I do the same thing because I have the same personality. We're both aggressive.
Has the NRA donated to me? I don't think the NRA is quite the boogeyman the Democrats.
I mean, honestly, like he's like a Karen. It's like, so you have the Toronto president, and look, people like ask, it's like, does that really matter? It does matter because you do need charm. You need to be likable because people forget this. It's like the president is America's finest and highest representative to the world, to the country. You don't want your president looking anything. You don't want him to. You don't want that. You don't want that. Why would you want that? I mean, why?
Yeah, that was a forced left right there.
I mean, honestly, it's like, seriously, it's like, who? No, come on, stop it. This is ridiculous. I mean, look, does Ramaswamy have a chance? No, he doesn't have a chance. We all know that. Now, this is the only way they have a chance if Donald Trump goes to jail. That's the only way they have a chance. If Donald Trump goes to jail, he will be going. Ron DeSantis is the nominee. Honestly,
so?
if Ron DeSantis is the nominee, I would probably only vote for him. That's the only reason I'd probably ever vote for him. I wouldn't vote for him in a primary. If let's just say if the Republican primary is still going on and Donald Trump is in jail, I will not vote for Ron DeSantis in a primary. I just won't, because I've said this before he announced. I told you he was a sellout. I told you that he was a fraud. I told you that he was going to betray MAGA. I told you that he was only in it for the fame, and he was only in it to be liked. Did he do a good job as governor? Sure, but things are expensive in Florida. The home insurance and home insurance in Florida and auto insurance in Florida are extremely expensive now because of him. He's dedicated all his time to campaigning. I have heard no economic policies from him. All he talks about is woke, gay, and black people now. That's all he talks about. And I don't know any person in America who thinks that is important over any other issue. I mean, is wokeism a problem? Yeah. Is it in the top 3 of problems? I don't think so. Not to me. Not to me. Not to me. The economy is more important. The military is more important. And I think foreign policy is more important. I'm sorry. It just is. I don't care if our kids are being indoctrinated. I don't really care. Nobody cares about that if we're all poor. Nobody cares about that if we're poor. Nobody does. And so people care more about the inflation. They just do. And they care about the fact if they don't have savings. I mean, the fact that the people in this country do not have savings. Like in 2019, when Trump was president, people in this country had the total personal savings for ordinary citizens in this country totaled $3 trillion. $3 trillion. You all know where we are right now? We're at $600 billion right now in personal savings. That's how bad.
Wow. That's
how down. It's not down to 1 trillion. It's down from 3 trillion from Trump 2019. We're down to $600 billion. That's a big deal.
That's a lot. Wow.
No one has addressed that. Trump barely addresses these issues. But again, Trump can't do everything. People keep throwing stuff at him. Why doesn't he say this? He's done everything. Remember, the only reason you have pro-life in America alive still today is Donald Trump, because of Roe v. Wade and what he did. The only reason that you can talk about MAGA is because Donald Trump won in 2016 and what he did as president. The only reason we have an advantage now with other countries still to this day is because of the MAGA. The only reason you have any miles of wall is because of Donald Trump and what he did as president. I mean, when I hear Republicans say that he could have done more, be grateful he did anything, because the last Republican president that said he was going to do something about it didn't. And all those candidates in 2012 and in 2016 that were going to do these things were not going to do any of this. None of them were going to appoint Gorsuch or Kavanaugh or Barrett. They weren't. They just weren't. They were going to go for the safe choices, the John Roberts and the other guys, the people that Bush, the first Bush nominated, David Souter, Souter and all the other ones that turned into Democrats when they were Republicans and then turned into Democrats when they got into court. I mean, that's what was going to happen. Mitt Romney again and again and again, and then you would lose presidential elections because nobody wants to vote for Mitt Romney. Nobody does. Nobody did in 2012. Nobody does today. I mean, that's what you're going to get. So like, I hate when people are like, he could have done more. You could also shut up. That you could also do that. I mean, he could do more. That's true, but you could also shut up. It's like, if we're gonna talk about what people can do, because it's like pointless to. It's like it's ungrateful, is what it sounds like.
Hey, right. Right.
So no, he's done. He's shot. There's no chance he's winning this. Whenever there's a rumor in the media, especially for politicians, that you're cranky or a Karen or like on like where it's like difficult to get a hold of you to like schedule meetings, those type of things stick. Vivek doesn't have any bad rumors outside that he's not like that he has no experience really doing anything big except for like being, and he was a businessman, which is important experience, but he has nothing else outside of that. You know what I mean?
We don't know that yet.
You know what I mean? So that's another one. And then like the other candidates, who cares? Nikki Haley, she's doing this for the money. Mike Pence, who cares? Tim Scott, no. Doug Burgum.
Chris Christie's still hungry.
Chris Christie's fat. I mean, come on now. Like, what are we doing? So yeah, that's it. And so I think we're getting near. I mean, we're gonna wrap up this episode now because we've been on for a while now. Anything you want to add?
Not really. Just don't forget. Just stay racist.
Stay racist, guys.
I'm positive too.
I hope you enjoyed this Patreon episode. We'll be coming back with you guys for more content, more stuff. Check out Karen Deep's gaming channel. That's Crimson Gaming. We'll put the link down below if you're into that kind of stuff. Check out our videos. Check out our clips. You put out shorts. Do all of that stuff. And yeah, stay, as Karen Deep says, stay racist. And I guess what I say, don't be stupid. Stay. Don't be stupid. Come on now.
All right, so stay racist and then don't be stupid.
Yeah, don't be stupid, guys. Stay racist. All right, bye, guys.